You're watching CBS7 First Alert News at 9 on the CW West Texas.
Take away more than hamburgers, hot dogs, cold beer. Today is a day that I personally use as a day of reflection.
It's Memorial Day across the United States. Coming up in just a few minutes, we're talking about how West Texans celebrated and honored local veterans. Thanks for joining us for CBS 7 News on the CW, and thanks to those of you joining us live on the CBS 7 YouTube. I'm Laura Munt, and we start tonight tracking crime. The Odessa Police Department is investigating after one person was beaten with a bat and another was shot earlier this afternoon. The person who was shot was taken to the hospital in a private car and is being treated. Witnesses told police that 3 vehicles were involved, including a motorcycle. OPD says they have identified all of these vehicles, but the investigation is still ongoing. We have a traffic alert for you now that might affect your Midland commute. According to the City of Midland, a busted storm water line is leading to lane closures. Take a look. City of Midland workers are trying to solve this problem, but until it's fixed, Midkiff near Cuthbert Avenue will be limited to only 1 lane each way. Now for a story that's only on CBS 7. 3 years ago, we brought you a story about a girl named Ryan Phillips and how she's paving the way for women in shooting sports. Now, after years of hard work, Ryan will be representing the country in Paris, France, at the highest level she can compete at, the Olympics. Phillips currently lives in Corpus Christi and attends Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Ryan is originally from Gale, which is north of Big Spring, and for the last 10 years, she's been a competitive shooter. Over that time, Ryan has won dozens upon dozens of competitions and plenty of ups and downs. But now, it's finally time for her to proudly represent West Texas and the USA.
Looking back on all of that and looking back on all the competitions I've been to and seeing that it has paid off so well is a really amazing feeling, because it's like I came so close to not doing this, and now it's one of my greatest passions in life.
This will only be the second time that Phillips has ever competed outside of the United States. The 2024 Paris Olympics, where she's competing, will start on July 26th. And we've got some sad news to kick off summer vacation. The Washington Family Aquatic Center opening is delayed because of a pipe burst. Here's a look at that 6-inch line that flooded the pump on Saturday. Officials say that staff members caught the break in time to prevent any worse damage. Crews are still working on repairing the break, but there's no word on when the Aquatic Center will be open for the summer season. And we hope that it opens soon, because it seems like it's going to be a really hot summer season. I'm here with Chief Meteorologist Tom Teefer-Teller to talk about what our weather forecast is looking like this week. Tom?
Yes, we are dealing with some hot temperatures out there. In fact, here's a look at the high temperatures for today. Got to give you an idea. We saw them all the way up to 101 out at the Midland International Air and Spaceport. Well, 102 in Midland and Odessa, 103 over towards Big Spring, a couple of 105s from Pecos down towards Fort Stockton, 107 in Dryden, and 115 was the hot spot down at Rio Grande Village. And we also saw some very gusty west winds helping heat things up quite a bit. Gusts of 36 miles an hour a little bit earlier out at the Miller National Air and Spaceport. A few high clouds out there, and we're trying to cool off, but still hanging on to the 90s currently, as the winds are starting to come around to the southeast as that dry line pushes back across the lower Trans-Pecos. So that's going to help us out on some humidity levels and get the fire danger out of here for the overnight hours. Taking a look at that futurecast, we see that dry line bring in some Gulf moisture, and it looks like after about 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon, thunderstorms firing up across parts of the Permian Basin into the lower Trans-Pecos. Around 5 o'clock is where we can start to see severe storms pop up and rapidly move off to the east. The biggest threat we're going to see is a hail threat in these orange and yellow shaded area, a high threat of large hail and strong damaging winds with any storms that become severe.
Thank you, Tom. And like you were just saying, it's severe storm season. And we've already seen plenty of storms with extreme hail, reaching up to baseball size in some areas of West Texas. CBS 7 meteorologist Sawyer McElroy joins us now to explain how hail forms and how it gets that size.
We're in the thick of severe weather season and have had some hail events across West Texas already this year. Hail has even been quite damaging at times. Now, after all of that hail, you may be wondering how exactly hail forms and how hail increases in size in order to become damaging. In order for thunderstorms to develop, they need warm, moist air to rise up into the storm, and that is called updrafts. Frozen water droplets in the atmosphere are then swept up by the updrafts. Each time they're swept up, additional layers of ice are formed. And this is how hail grows in size. It's a cycle. Eventually, the weight of the hailstone exceeds the force of the updraft. That's when the hailstone falls to the ground. Hail ranges in size. It can be minuscule or it can be damaging. Hail size depends on how strong the updraft is within a storm. The stronger the updraft, the larger the hail can get. We start to measure hail when it is about 1/4 of an inch in diameter, or pea-sized. Quarter-sized hail is about 1 inch in diameter. Golf ball-sized hail is about 1 3/4 inches. Tennis ball-sized hail is about 2.5 inches, and then we get to baseball and softball-sized hail, which are about 3 to 4 inches in diameter. Hail is considered severe when it is 1 inch in diameter or larger. Quarter-sized hail can destroy vegetation and put dents in a car, but as we get to some of the larger hail sizes, such as golf ball or even baseball-sized hail, the more damage they cause, such as broken windows and damaged roofs. Of course, the smaller the hail size, the more common it is. When severe weather hits, you want to be prepared, and a good way to do so is by downloading the CBS7 First Alert Weather app.
Thank you, Sawyer. Now, about 70 million Americans are expected to be impacted by severe weather, from the south all the way up through the northeast, and it follows tornadoes and other extreme weather that killed at least 20 people in parts of the Midwest and the South over the weekend. Dave Malkoff reports from Valley View, Texas, where tornado survivors say things would have been much worse without the quick thinking of one man.
A funnel cloud was caught on camera in Eddyville, Kentucky. The state's governor declared a state of emergency early Monday because of the severe weather.
Communities across Kentucky experienced storms that produced strong winds, multiple tornadoes, hail in some places.
Hail and twisters also battered parts of Missouri. In St. Louis, neighbors worked to clear the debris.
We're lucky. Everybody here is lucky our houses weren't destroyed.
Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders got a first-hand look Monday at the damage in her state.
I knew something was bad. We heard it. It lasted a couple minutes, and then pretty devastating.
2 young children were among the victims of deadly twisters in Cook County, Texas.
With this particular one, the damage and the loss is just really heartbreaking.
If you look at all the 300 tornadoes that have happened so far this season, it makes it the second worst April on record. Amid the destruction, there are stories of heroism, including at this truck stop where Hugo Parra told his fellow travelers to take shelter in the bathrooms.
When I say let's go to the restrooms, the dispatcher started, hey, go, 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 go. And everybody listened and everybody go to the restrooms.
That person saved probably 50, 60 lives.
The local emergency manager tells CBS News nobody died in this gas station, thanks to that quick thinking voice in the dark. Dave Malkoff, CBS News, Valley View, Texas.
This morning was the 25th Ride to Remember. Bikers across Texas rode from Midland through Odessa and ended the drive in Andrews. This event happens every year on Memorial Day, and the message is clear: to honor the soldiers who lost their lives in combat. Almost 500 bikers attended this year's Ride to Remember, and before they took off, a ceremony was held at the Permian Basin Vietnam Veterans Memorial in Midland. The most important part was delivering a message on the meaning behind Memorial Day.
Just to take a day to remember about all the fallen men and women. They were sons, they were daughters, they were moms, they were fathers, they were brothers, they were sisters. They all had families, and some of them just never got to come home.
Bikers arrived at the Andrews County Veterans Memorial to honor more wreath layings of soldiers that lost their lives fighting for this country.
There's a couple of memorials over there that 2 gentlemen on there that I actually went to high school with, graduated with one of them. So to be a part of this board and to be involved in this event is just an amazing time for me.
The speakers also read a message sent to them by Governor Greg Abbott and a video message played from Senator Ted Cruz. And in the month of May, we recognize both Mental Health Awareness and Memorial Day, 2 important observances that remind us the critical need for mental health support, particularly for our veterans. And that's why Congressman Tony Gonzalez introduced a military construction and VA appropriations bill, which was passed by the House Appropriations Committee. The bill allocates millions of dollars specifically for veteran mental health initiatives, because veterans' health care can be a range of things. All veterans want a doctor they trust and who specialize in their specific needs. And it's not only ex-military personnel who are affected.
It's so important that we don't forget the families that are working so hard to keep everything whole, whether that's a wife or a husband at home, whether that's a child at home. I mean, it is really important from that aspect, because when you do come home, it is your family that is going to be there. After you leave service, it is your family that is going to be the one taking care of you and nurturing you.
Congressman Gonzalez is a strong advocate for telehealth services and the use of advanced technology to make access to care easier on veterans. These resources are critical in creating a comprehensive support system that can address the mental health needs of our communities, ensuring that veterans and civilians alike can access the help they need.
Veterans deserve access to care as well as quality of care, and we do that not with words. We do that with action. That starts on the House Appropriations Committee by appropriating the funds we need to take care of our veterans.
If you or someone you know is struggling, help is available, and reaching out is a courageous step. Be sure to tune in to CBS7 First Alert News at 6 and 10 on Thursday for a CBS7 special report titled "We Are Not Forgotten." Our weekend anchor, Celeste Gessner, will introduce you to a support made by women veterans for women veterans. And earlier this evening, the American Legion held their annual wreath-laying ceremony at the Ector County Cemetery. The wreath-laying ceremony is the final part of the long weekend that's spent remembering those service members who died, with thousands of flags placed on the graves by the Post. According to the Post, Odessans often show their support for events like this.
You know, they love our veterans. The community loves us. We love them back. You know, we always support them back also when we can. And they're great to us. They've been great.
American Legion Post 430 also hosted a dinner for those who attended afterwards. And the American Legion came together to hold a special ceremony to honor fallen veterans. People of all ages gathered at the Llewellyn Garcia Pipkin Funeral Home to pray together, watch performances, and reflect on the holiday and what it means to this country. Congressman August Pfluger was a guest speaker at today's event and says this day is about honoring those who never made the journey home.
But today is about those who paid the ultimate sacrifice, those that didn't come home, that were willing to lay it all on the line for our country, for the flag that we love, for the country that we love. And that's what today is all about.
Organizers say that this annual event is not only a way to give back, but to remember the veterans who died serving our country. And still ahead, from four-stand softball playoffs to baseball opening day in Pecos, we've got your local sports headlines up here next on CBS 7 News at 9. We're talking some local sports now, where the Forsan Lady Buffaloes are heading to the state capitol for the semifinal round of the 2A softball playoffs. The Lady Buffs are just 2 wins away from becoming state champions, and head coach Jason Phillips is excited for the girls and thankful for the town's support.
They've worked hard for this. They were really close last year, so it was good seeing them get over the top and get a trip down there, especially for those seniors that have been working so hard. But it's just a special group of girls, and they deserve this, and hopefully we can go down there and put on a good show. Our support is amazing. Our Forsan fans are great. They travel great. Last week at the regional final, we had a ton of people there, and it's really important, and it helps those girls, and it helps the energy level, and we're thankful for the support.
That celebration there is in Forsan, with the Lady Buffaloes take on the 2A state semifinal tomorrow when they play Beckville. That game will be at 4 o'clock, and good luck to the Lady Buffs. And last week we introduced you to a new baseball team here in West Texas, the Pecos Bills. Tomorrow they'll host their first ever game in organization history. They'll host the Alpine Cowboys at Cyclone Park. The Bills are excited for their debut, and they're confident that they'll pull out a win tomorrow night. First pitch is at 6:30. Be sure to tune in tonight for even more local sports coverage with Sports Director Jair Brooks Davis.
And we're back on the Weather Watch with the possibility of strong to severe thunderstorms across parts of West Texas on Tuesday. We'll get you up to date on that first alert weather day that's upcoming next.
Now, from the CBS7 First Alert Weather Center, here's Chief Meteorologist Tom Tiefertiller.
Again, it was hot today. Here's how hot it was. Taking a look at these high temperatures. Many people saw triple digits today. The worst of it across the Pecos River, across the Trans-Pecos, 105 all the way up to 107 down in Terrell County. And in the Big Bend area, we saw temperatures 110 plus in many locations this afternoon. The reason why? Big ridge of high pressure right over the state of Texas, but it's what you call a dirty high pressure. Not a lot of sinking air with it, enough to make things hot, but we are seeing scattered showers and thunderstorms move across, and that's what we have tonight across portions of South Texas. Now there's another disturbance that's going to roll across West Texas coming up tomorrow is going to do two things. It's going to increase thunderstorm activity, but also drag a front through. So we're going to see a little bit of heat improvement in our forecast on Wednesday. There you see the thunderstorms really lining up from Eagle Pass, Laredo, down towards Zapata, Rio Grande City, and near McAllen this afternoon and evening. Moving across, severe thunderstorm watches in effect there. Activity we had across the hill country dying down for tonight. Still a little bit continuing across the Dallas-Fort Worth area where they had numerous reports of hail in and around the Metroplex earlier this evening. West Texas, we're looking at things pretty quiet today, just hot, and it's still hot out there. Temperatures staying into the 90s. Now this dry line is going to move back to the west a little bit overnight tonight. As that happens, some Gulf moisture will rush in. Also watching this boundary here, this old stationary front, it's finally going to get its act together and move through as we move in towards tomorrow late. So that's what's going to help kick off thunderstorms. Across the state of Texas, you can see it was broiling hot along the Rio Grande, 108 in Laredo and Del Rio, all the way up to 115 in Rio Grande Village a little bit earlier today. But most of the state, though, dealing with the mid to upper 90s this afternoon. Corpus Christi, always, that's my old hometown. Heat index values today felt like 117 at one time because of all the humidity that we don't have to deal with usually, but it's going to come back a little bit as we are going to see that dry line move back to the west. And as that happens, some of this Gulf moisture is going to pool up. Isolated thunderstorms start to pop up across the Trans-Pecos by about 3 o'clock or so and into parts of the Permian Basin by 5, 6 o'clock. And then we see things really get going after about 7 o'clock across parts of the northeast Permian Basin into the lower Trans-Pecos. So again, definitely something we'll be watching for you, as it looks like the main severe weather threat is going to be off to the north and east, but this does include Big Spring, maybe the Midland area. Biggest threat with storms is going to be large hail, strong damaging winds, but mainly large hail is going to be a big thing to worry about. Could be in excess of baseball size in some locations, especially as you get over towards the big country and the Concho Valley. But the heat is not going to let up, so we still have more heat advisories in effect across the Davis Mountains down towards the Big Bend area for tomorrow afternoon. Rest of tonight, we're looking at those temperatures right around 70 degrees. As we'll see, winds come around to the southeast and bring in some of that Gulf moisture across the Permian Basin, and then that dry line will set up across the western Permian Basin. A couple of thunderstorms firing up along it. We'll have intense daytime heating, plenty of moisture, plenty of instability. So that's why we're watching out for strong to severe thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon. Looks like we'll see some cooler air. We'll call it cooler in comparison to 101 today. 85 on Wednesday will be nice, and into the lower to mid 90s all the way through the weekend, and keeping some isolated thunderstorm chances in our forecast.
Memorial Day weekend is the unofficial kickoff to summer in the United States, but not all beaches and swimming pools are fully open to the public. That's due to an ongoing lifeguard shortage. Lifeguard shortages in states like New York and Michigan have forced some municipalities to reduce operating hours for beaches or entirely close them. In New York City, officials say a total of 600 lifeguards are needed to cover beaches, but only 230 are currently working. Officials say that they are easing some of the hiring requirements, like the vision standard, to help fill the gaps. The American Lifeguard Association recommends promoting lifeguarding as a career option, investing in lifeguarding programs, and providing more flexible schedules in order to help address the shortage. All right, before we go, ahead of Memorial Day weekend, officials in Ocean City, New Jersey marked the beginning of the summer season with the annual Unlocking of the Ocean. It involved the ceremonial turning of a giant key, and it was immediately followed by the Business Person's Plunge, in which a large group of clothed beachgoers, many of them in suits, marched straight into the Atlantic Ocean.
Okay.
So they're fully clothed in all their nice clothes, and you know, I'm going to Ocean City this summer. I will be wearing a bathing suit. I will not be going in fully clothed. I think my clothes are too expensive to have to buy new ones after putting it in the salty water, but it looks like a fun time.
No, okay.
Thanks for watching CBS7 News at 9 on the CW. We've got more news coming up tonight at 10.